Now it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Welcome to New Release Review, part of the Movie Friends podcast. My name is Seth. Today we're talking about Clown in a Cornfield from 2025, directed by Eli Craig. We will be discussing spoilers throughout this entire episode, so if you have not yet seen Clown in a Cornfield, and you would prefer for it to not be spoiled for you, please turn this off, go watch the film, and then come back and listen. My guest for today is Josie. She's a good friend of the show and a filmmaker who is currently working on her first feature-length film. Josie, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
This is a last-minute guest spot for you,
Yeah.
so I very much appreciate you coming on.
I'm happy to be here.
No preparation. So
No.
As you're listening to this episode, folks, just know she's winging it. Now, before we get into Clown in a Cornfield, number one, you just came off of a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please describe for us what you just experienced?
So I was in a Hunger Games marathon that was 603 minutes long. And I'm not sure if that was like the whole time I was actually there, because there was like a good 15 to 20 minute intermission after every single film.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was the first four, like the original four Hunger Games films. And I'm happy to report that they are all 5-star
Wow.
films. I'm just kidding. Actually, they're more. It's 4.5, 5, 4, 4.
Right.
But it was good. It was so much fun. It was like a lot easier to watch them in a row, like in a theater like that, than I thought.
Now, did anyone else in your audience stick around for all of them?
Yeah, no, everybody did.
Really?
It was a decent crowd of people. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was really impressed, especially where I live. So.
Yeah, I know you've said in the past, sometimes or most of the time when you go to the theater,
I watch so many movies with just
it's like you and
4 other people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Unless it is a Marvel movie, a popular blockbuster, something like that.
Yeah. Which I suppose the Hunger Games were.
And Sinners.
Well, everybody went to see Sinners. You're working on your feature-length film, first one.
Yeah.
Where's your head at? How you feeling?
I feel really good. It doesn't feel real yet, I guess, because I haven't even met most of the actors yet. They sent in like video auditions, but I don't know. Like I'm really excited. It's not super long, so I also in my head I'm telling myself, "Oh, this is going to be so easy breezy," but like I know, I know that it's not. I think I'm just like downplaying it in my head, because once it starts, I think I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's starting to get real. The more packages that come in the mail that have equipment in them, mics. We got a boom mic in today.
Very cool.
Stuff like that. So.
All right. Very cool. Well, we are here today to talk about Clown in a Cornfield, which turns out is a misleading title because there were multiple clowns in several cornfields.
Yeah.
And
other places.
And other places. Yep. So if you could just give us a general vibe check, what were your general thoughts on the film?
Overall, I had a good time. I did. I personally ended up, I think, giving it 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, because I did have fun with it, and I think having fun with the movie is important, even if the movie wasn't like great. Not to like skip ahead and stuff, but like the end is where it lost me a little bit. Personally.
Yeah. I see that.
But like overall, I had a good time. Just like to summarize it, I had fun. I laughed a lot, so I think that that's important.
Yeah, yeah.
So many horror comedies, I don't laugh, and you know,
I'm not anti horror comedy.
and I love horror comedies.
Yeah, I think that they can work.
Mm-hmm.
What I find is, and this is just me, I cannot speak for everyone. I find that a horror comedy either ends up being not funny and it's scary, or it ends up being funny and it's not scary.
Mm.
A good example for me recently was The Monkey.
Oh God.
I thought that The Monkey was hilarious and not scary in the slightest. Like, I actually, in my review, I said this isn't a horror movie. It's just a comedy that happens to have gore, but all of the elements that make a movie a horror movie, they're just not there.
Mm.
And I would maybe say Clown in a Cornfield is closer to that.
Which did you like more?
The Monkey.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Monkey is like so far my biggest disappointment of the entire year.
Really?
So yes, I'm a very big Stephen King fan, and especially Stephen King adaptations.
Yeah.
And I won't drag this episode into my hate for The Monkey, but
Okay.
but I was just really disappointed.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that funny. It wasn't funny enough.
Right.
And also and maybe it's coming off of Longlegs into this, which I didn't love as much as everyone else, but I still liked a lot. I thought that the gore and the effects looked really, really bad. So now every single movie, including this one, I see I'm like, why were the effects better in this movie?
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I did not like The Monkey though. So
yeah, I mean, I didn't love it.
And I never thought I would say that I liked this one more than The Monkey.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I laughed. I thought that one of the kills was interesting.
In The Monkey or this one?
Oh, Clown in a Cornfield.
Okay. I'm making sure we're back.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, pitchfork into the light socket.
That was crazy.
I thought that was an interesting kill. Beyond that, I didn't find too many of the kills to be that interesting. Or when I say interesting, I mean kind of, unique or
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one chainsaw through a body up into the air that happened, I think, in the cornfield.
Yes.
Yeah. At one point, she
that was shocking.
She ran into the chainsaw, which was fascinating.
But yeah, overall, like I did laugh a few times. The biggest laugh from me was definitely when they go into the house and the phone is ringing and they pick it up, then they hang up and they go to dial 911, but it's a rotary phone.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Where are the numbers?
Where are the numbers at?"
Yeah, what kind of a phone is this? I thought that was really funny. I didn't learn anything about this.
So you're not familiar with the books?
I'm not familiar with the books.
I wasn't either.
I didn't even know who the director was. And honestly, throughout the whole movie, I thought, oh, this is a really good, like, first-time director movie. And then I was shocked to find that, no, that is not the case.
No.
This is directed by Eli Craig, who I think most famously did Tucker and Dale versus Evil. So that kind of threw me for a loop after watching. I was like, wow, oh no, that's
the places I laughed at the most were, I feel like, places that normally, like in other movies, might have been things. For instance, a lot of times I think parent characters are written really bad. Like they have to have the corniest jokes, and so they just like don't relay really well, or they're just like written really bad. Whereas in this movie, one of my favorite characters was the dad.
Yeah.
I don't know why, really, but there was this scene where she's like snuck out of the house and he goes into her room and he thinks that she's in there and he sits on the bed and he's like talking to her and he touches the bill and he's like, damn it.
Yes.
And I cracked up. I don't even know why. It caught me off guard. I thought he was so funny, which is, again, a rarity, I feel like, in a lot of these movies where I just don't like. I'm like, the parents just aren't interesting. They're not funny. But he was. I liked him a lot. And then, of course, one of the main guy characters, I really enjoyed him, and I constantly laughed at his delivery of things. Rust was his name, and I laughed at his name the first time. That was
Yes.
I put him in my
Rust
Letterboxd review.
Vance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Clown in a Cornfield is about a small town. Instead of it being Children of the Corn, this is kind of like Adults of the Corn, where each generation, the adults will kind of cull some of the youngsters. This is not a supernatural movie.
No.
Which, okay, fine. And then it's also like it is a conspiratorial, they're all in on it kind of a thing. Even like the gas station dude was in on it, which I thought that was kind of funny. But the teacher, all the different areas of the town are kind of represented.
Mm-hmm.
So it is like an all, they're all in on it thriller type thing. But there was no like cult aspect to it, or
no,
I don't know. Like it was just kind of like, hey, we all don't like these kids.
Which might have been better.
Yeah, so I feel like the thing that kind of tied them all together was just so like loose, and it wasn't firm enough. You like, it's not like he says like we do this every 20 years like clockwork, or whenever XYZ happens and we're all the descendants of the people who formed the town.
And is it just the descendants, or is it all the adults?
Right. There needs to be something for, if you're going to be murdering children in these like really, really grotesque ways, there needs to be a firmer tie than just like, hey, you want to kill these kids?
Couldn't they have like mass poisoned the kids?
That's well. So they target these kids specifically because the town blames them for the factory burning down.
So, like, do the clowns always do the killing, or do they kill different generations different ways?
Well, so we start out in 1991.
Yeah,
and we do see a clown in a cornfield killing some stoner kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, fine, whatever. So we'll take it that that's the current head clown, his father or something. Fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that this is like a weird point, but when a movie has a reveal, I think that you're either going to say like, oh, okay, or you're going to say that's it. Like that's what was happening this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And for that to be what was happening the whole time, I just don't buy it. Like, if it was one guy acting on his own, or two people, like if it was the dad and the teacher, because we do hear that the teacher's brother committed suicide when the factory burned down. So that's pretty extreme. But why is the waitress from the diner there?
I like one for starters, the guy who plays the head clown, the head honcho.
Yeah.
Just off the bat, he has got like DC Joker makeup on. He is not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And that took me out.
Yeah. That I agree.
Then, also to note, this guy is in the movie Abigail that came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays a very different character. And I liked him in that movie. I thought that he was really good in it. It's very funny. I was so tired of him talking in this movie. I was like, his monologue, I was like, and like, I'm fine. A lot of things, we live in a day and age where a lot of things are just kind of delivered to us on a platter, like on the nose type stuff. His monologue was crazy. And I was like in shock that that's how the direction that this movie went in.
Yes.
I was so appalled by it that I was considering like reading the book to find out if it was any bad.
Yeah.
If this was real, or if I was being punked.
Kevin Durand plays the lead dude here, Mayor Arthur Hill. I first saw him in Lost.
I haven't seen Lost in a long time. Who is he in Lost?
I watched
Lost like in high school.
Well, I don't want to give Lost spoilers, but I will say he's part of a tactical team
Oh, that's
in a
probably why.
later season.
Yeah, it's been I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
And I honestly have forgotten so much of it. It's on my rewatch list, so that's probably
Yeah,
why.
it's so good. It's so great. I like Kevin Durant usually, and I just think, like you said, the end of this film, what are they doing? What are we doing? Why are we saying what the movie is about when the themes of the film have been so apparent already? Like the movie was already telling us,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, this is about generations. This is about how generations don't understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is how generations clash and fight each other.
Yeah.
Okay, we got all that from the stick shift thing with her dad. We
Mm-hmm.
got that from the cop who doesn't trust the kid. We got that from every interaction of young people and old
Mm-hmm.
people in this movie is antagonistic.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, you literally have a kid with like a noose around his neck saying, "You older generation, don't listen to us. And if you can't get things the way that you want, you're just going to burn everything down. You need to listen to us." And I was like,
Oh my.
oh my God.
And you know what I think a lot of it is? It was written by someone who is an older generation.
Yeah.
I don't even mean that like in a hateful way. I genuinely just think that sometimes they don't know how to write
Yeah.
younger generations. And so it felt really, I was like, because the kid yelling that again, I was just making this cringe face, and I was like, it's like, let's get back to the clowns chasing us because,
Well, yeah. Yeah. And
ugh,
like, you know what? I actually think that a slasher film, because we've had now generations of slasher films,
mm-hmm,
I actually think that this is an interesting kind of form to have this argument and to have this discussion and to explore generational
mm-hmm,
issues.
mm-hmm,
But they took like all nuance out of it, and instead, like, I feel like they ruined the idea by saying it too much.
mm-hmm.
But
No, 100%.
you and I aren't teenagers. Maybe this is how teenagers nowadays.
I don't know. They were all, we were watching it, and my partner leaned over and he goes, they do know that kids don't post videos like this on YouTube anymore, right?
Well, okay,
And
okay. So I did like the character of Janet. She was like making films. Like these aren't just like little YouTube videos.
she was serious.
Like she's talking about how things should be made, and the videos are, YouTube quality videos, but it's not like they were just running around town like, pranking people, or like
Mm-hmm.
there was thought behind all of them. But I felt like there wasn't like a good cohesion behind, like, hey, this group of teenagers makes little scary films, and that makes them annoying vandals to everyone else. Because they're the ones starring in the movies.
Yeah.
How is that annoying to anyone?
It doesn't help that the dad just hates his son, though. So,
Right. And okay, so now we have Cole and Rust.
my favorites.
Yeah.
That I'm in it. I almost jumped out of my seat. Took me out. Plot
Well,
twist. The plot.
oh, I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Did you really? I
Oh,
guess I
yeah.
was just like blind, but I literally was like, and then okay, so just, I didn't love any of the female characters. I don't know why.
Well, you are a big hater of women.
That literally, it does. I cannot stand. That's what my partner said. He said, "You just hate women." I
Yeah.
don't hate women,
Yeah.
but I didn't think that the two Mean Girls were very good actresses. And the third one, I could not get past her, like, Kristen Stewart in Twilight impression that she was doing with her voice, especially at the end. She like was like holding her mouth really small. I don't know. It was just a whole thing. Her line deliveries. I liked her like in the beginning, and as the film went on, it's like I like believed her less and less. But I liked Rust from the first second. He said his name was Rust. because I live in a small southern town, and
Yeah.
people name their kids after guns around
Right.
here. So like Rust really, I was like, you know what? Yeah. And so then the plot twist comes around, and I was like shocked. So I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was so funny. I like laughed out loud at that whole entire reveal, but I didn't see it coming. So
When Quinn and Cole are making out and he's like, slow down, I was like, oh yeah, I know
I
exactly.
kind of thought he was a killer for the first
Did you?
15 minutes. I did. I actually thought he was going to be the clown back when I thought it was one clown. I thought he was the killer for the first part of the movie.
Yeah,
My bad. I was really wrong.
The the movie does the thing of like, it could be anybody. All these people, they've all got a reason. They all hate these kids. Now, did you see Thanksgiving?
Yes, I like Thanksgiving.
Okay, did this feel like Thanksgiving to you?
It did. But more than okay. So I liked Thanksgiving. It also felt like this movie that I called Founders Day that came out the same year. I don't know if you saw Founders Day.
I didn't see Founders Day, but
Okay,
I'm
Founders Day
aware
is
of it, and I was so confused watching this one because they keep talking about Founders Day.
Founders Day is a lot like Thanksgiving, but not as good.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Thanksgiving a lot, effects wise, story wise, plot twist. Just really enjoyed it. Founders Day though was not very good. Interesting, but not super great. Mainly like it's honestly usually it's dialogue that gets me in movies like this. But this reminded me of that. That's what I kept thinking of, and I compared it to that movie and then this other movie called Tarot that came out last year. I think it was last year.
Oh, I didn't see Tarot. I saw the preview for it.
I watch
and I was
almost
like,
every horror movie that comes out.
This looks really wild.
I feel like it's my personal mission in life to go support all the horror movies that come to theaters.
Sure. God bless you.
Just because horror is my favorite genre, and so like I'll go see almost just about anything that comes out, and I mean I regret it sometimes, but then again I don't need a ton of movies that I don't like even like a little bit. Like I'll watch a terrible movie and be like, oh, I mean I had fun, so
right.
guess it's good. But this did remind me of I see the Thanksgiving parallels too. I just think Thanksgiving is better, but it 100% does remind me of that. And if it hadn't been based on a book, I would have been like, oh, they just wanted to make a movie like that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Thanksgiving, and I thought with that movie had under its belt, obviously Patrick Dempsey was just really interesting in that movie, and it's not like we've seen him in this type of role before.
No.
And, there was normal teenage nonsense, but I feel like the kills in Thanksgiving, they were all set up and they all felt like big set piece kind of elaborate kills. Where in Cloud in a Cornfield, it felt more like Final Destination light. And I was like, okay, all right, whatever.
And I think sometimes when these movies come out, there's this thing where like, oh, well, this, because I've said this before, I'm like, oh, well, a lot of these movies are like gateway horror. These are the movies that people watch when they're teenagers to get them into horror. And I didn't watch horror when I was a teen, but I know so many people that did, and like they watched, but like the gateway horror, the standard used to be movies like Scream, which I think is a really good movie, or other things. And it's the same thing that goes for like kids movies. Just because it's for a younger audience, like intended wise, doesn't mean it has to be written badly.
I agree.
They deserve good.
I agree, and like I said, this movie has something to say about.
I think it was just a writing thing,
but it just fails, and I like I said, hey, I commend you for feeling that desire to go out and support horror films. I feel the same way. Like there are certain movies where I'm like, I'm going to go and I'm going to pay money to see this. One, because I love the experience of seeing a horror film, especially with a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
2, because I want to contribute to this movie's success,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I don't think that this movie falls into those categories. I don't think that people need to support this movie. And I know that that sounds horrible. I don't know if I've ever said that before. This is a waste of money and time, if you ask me. It's fine. It's
fine.
okay. But just because it falls under the genre of horror doesn't mean that we need to be like, this is worthy of your time and you should support it. I actually think the opposite. I think
Yeah.
that we should send a message,
Mm-hmm. Well, because
which is
there's so
do
many.
better.
There's exactly, and there's so many horror movies that come out at a time that this one will get, and this one already is. It has a lot of fans. I've seen. I mean, it had a lot of good reviews already from mutuals of mine,
Yeah,
like on
yeah.
Letterboxd. And so like people are seeing it, they're making t-shirts. People have been talking about it for months because it was a book. So like obviously it's getting traction. But now that I've seen it, if someone's gonna I'm not gonna tell people, I'm not gonna recommend this movie.
No, yeah.
Not
which
when
is
they
which
could,
sucks.
which it does suck. Not when there's like other films out there that just are more worthy of my own not that like my word is gold, but if they want an opinion, I'm going to recommend them to go see Sinners or Presence
Yeah,
or something else, and not
yeah,
this one, which is sad. Which you don't want that.
yeah. I mean, hey, look, people will say the only thing you have in this world is your word, and as movie people, that's your recommendation
Mm-hmm.
is. It doesn't look. Yeah, is it a
Did you watch it
serious
with a big
thing?
crowd?
No, I would say maybe 6 to 8 other people. But I purchased a ticket ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
and I picked the spot where I always pick, middle of the very, very back row. And at the time that I bought my ticket, there was no one else within, 4 rows of me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go to sit down, and there's 2 teenage girls, like literally 2 seats away from me.
Oh.
And so I got, their reactions, and we kept, there were a few lines that we missed. And so they were asking me, they were like, what did they say? And then at one point I was like, what did they say? but
I had an
but
old couple walk out of my showing.
really,
They they walked in before me. I went with my partner, and they walked in before us and got tickets. And they were buying tickets like day of. And I heard the guy at the counter say it's already started, but it's just in the previews because we were a little late. And they were like complaining about the ticket price out loud. They were really old. We like to guess what people around us are going to see just based on their looks. Like we're literally judging
sure,
them by
sure,
their appearance. Just guessing. Like, hey, I wonder what that guy in the Pokemon shirt's going to wear,
yeah,
going to see. Or I wonder what that random like group of girls that are all dressed up are going to see. Like just trying to figure out how we can. And sometimes it's very easy to tell. Um, but these people, I was like, I don't know what they're here to see. I was like, I can't imagine them really wanting to go see anything that's in theaters right now. And the guy was like, you're going to be in this theater. And then we got our tickets, and he said, you're going to be in this theater. And they were in ours. And I was like, I could not have predicted that at all. We get in there, it's just started, and it's the scene, the opening one where the stoned couple dies. And as soon as the girl gets killed, they stand up, and he went, this is a horror movie. And they just
oh my god,
and they leave. And I was like, I feel kind of bad for him. And my partner's like, but it's called Clown in a Cornfield. He was like, I don't really know
well,
what they thought
I
it was going to
mean,
be. And so I felt bad for them, but also it was very funny. And I was like, I really hope they got their money back because they were really worried.
maybe, I mean, I'm imagining now, late 90s dramedy starring Robin Williams, and it's set like, this movie is set in 1913, let's say. And Robin Williams is from the big city, but he has to go help his uncle's farm, and it's a cornfield, and it's harvest time. and it's called Clown in a Cornfield, and it's a tearjerker, but it will also make you laugh.
Quick, write this down right.
So maybe that's what they thought.
I don't know, but they could. I mean, they didn't make it past the first kill, so it was very funny. They walked right out, not to be seen again.
So I want on the kills and the clowns and the this and the that's. I want to ask you two questions. One, when the reveal comes that there's multiple clowns, how did you take that? And then two, in terms of slasher iconography, this character, how do you feel about the clown in the cornfield as a horror character?
First off, I want to point out that the clown's name is Friendo, and I think that that's a little silly.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think any clowns had a cool name. So, but as far as
what about
I mean, like not like it's not. We're not invoking fear with these clown names.
What about Pennywise?
Pennywise is not invoking fear until you see it.
That name?
You're hearing the name. I don't really think. Maybe I'm just. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I'm too detached from that because I love it so much that I don't find it scary anymore.
I guess
that could be it. I just don't think it invokes fear. So that's what I'm saying.
Captain Spaulding.
I don't want to judge the clown just based on that because just because I don't think it is. Someone else might, because clowns are scary. But
no.
They are scary.
No, I've never gotten the scary clown thing.
People who were clown. I know a person. My partner's grandparents live across from a woman who is a clown. Although it's crazy that people are still doing clown stuff.
Why?
It's usually like
clowns are cool.
I think it's so. I can't. It's very weird and I find it a little terrifying.
Wow. Okay.
You're always
afraid of the clown in the cornfield.
I am afraid of clowns. However, I've been scared of clowns since I was a little kid, and I accidentally watched part of It, 1990 for the first time. So, and then I did a haunted house where a clown chased me with a knife, and so But that being said, when the clowns, it's revealed, right, that there's more than one. So my initial guess of who the killer was gone. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this isn't that kind of movie. There's like 50 clowns out here. Mm-hmm. I immediately guessed the plot. Like,
really?
Immediately said, it's all the old people in the town.
Got it. Okay.
I don't mean that in like a braggy way. It just like clicked. Yeah. That's what it was. I also, and at first I didn't even say all of them. I thought that the main clown that like had come out, I thought it was the sheriff, but then the sheriff showed up later to arrest Cole, and I was like, oh wait, like why is he here? But then he did, and still end up being a clown. So right. I was still right, but I had him from the beginning. I thought he was going to be a nuisance, and I was right. I was shocked though by there being multiple clowns. It wasn't like a bad thing. I'm the kind of person who tries to guess the plot of movies like that where there's a masked killer.
Sure. Well, yeah, of course.
As soon as I figured out it wasn't supernatural.
Right.
I'm constantly going, oh, I think it's this person. Oh, I think it's this person. But I was shocked. So it was, I mean, at least they had that shock factor of like, oh, there's like 100 clowns out here.
Right.
Everyone's a clown.
Right.
But and then as far as clowns go, is it clowns as killers, or is it
it's like
every horror icon?
Like Friendo the clown.
Yeah.
Which I guess is hard to pinpoint because there are so many of them.
But like maybe Friendo as a whole.
Yeah, Friendo as a whole. This face. Idea of,
his mask, especially.
His mask. Like in Scream, Ghostface is also like multiple people over multiple different movies.
He did look spooky.
Yeah.
To me. Again, I realize that you don't think clowns are scary, and I do. So I did find him to have like a startling appearance. Not if he's compared to clowns, he's maybe the least frightening clown.
Yeah, I just didn't find it scary looking.
like I think that like in general, I find clowns disturbing, but I didn't find Friendo super scary as a
No,
whole.
no.
I just think clowns are disturbing.
Yeah.
Some of them are scary. I think that, for instance, my favorite clown is Pennywise. But that's just because I love the It movies more than
Sure,
anything.
sure.
But as far as like scary goes, I think Art the Clown takes that, and I don't even think those movies are like the best in the world. I enjoy them, but I think that he's actually kind of got a terrifying, and I think it's because he doesn't talk and he doesn't look like a normal clown.
Right, right. Yeah,
Um,
I've only seen the first Terrifier, and I was like, okay, I get it. And then when I saw every time I go to watch Terrifier 2,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, I don't know, 4 hours long,
Yeah.
I'm like, do I
Oh,
want
it.
to watch?
I actually just got Terrifier 3 on the collector's VHS. I
Oh,
finally
okay.
found it and got it. They're fine. They're decent movies. I like them because I like Damien Leone, if I'm saying his name correctly, because he started as a practical effects guy, and he does all the effects for his own movies. Um, and I love that. I love practical effects. I
Sure.
like
Oh,
people
of
who
course.
like practical effects, and so that's why I like them. There is no plot, so like if you do ever watch them, just like know that
Right, right,
they don't make any sense
right.
at all.
Yeah, I mean, I applaud, especially, an indie filmmaker making a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember how much Terrifier 2 was made for, but um, maybe a few 100,000.
And it wasn't until Terrifier 3 that he really even had outside help
Yeah.
because he was doing them all on his own, and I respect that.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
like I said, like I didn't there wasn't anything in Terrifier 1 that made me go, "Oh, I'm going to keep doing this."
Mm-hmm. But see, but Terrifier 1, there's not even that much of a story. But then he tries to add a story, while still it's very confusing. And also,
Yeah.
Art the Clown's kind of confusing as a whole. He's like supernatural, and he can't really die, but he can. It's very confusing. I couldn't even begin to try to describe
Yeah.
the plot of those movies. But Friendo, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's like memorable. I hate to just
No,
bash it that bad. I really did not have a terrible time watching the movie.
no, I mean, we both said we had a fun time.
I had a fun
That
time.
doesn't make it a good movie.
But
Like, I'm
like a
sorry.
month from now, I might forget the characters' names,
Right, right.
except Rust.
Yeah, Rust is the best.
Rust, who had the least amount of screen time,
Yes, yes.
which apparently he has more. He's in the book more. I read
Oh,
a
okay.
mutual's review, and she had read the books, and she gave like beat for beat type thing of like what happens in what or whatever. And I think there's like 3 books, 3 or 4.
Wow.
So I'm assuming that,
All about this town?
well, because you noticed that the guy got away, did he not? The dad. Also, I always forget his name, but he looks like Elon Musk. So we like
Oh
have
no,
this.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah. So I know, and that's terrible. But this ongoing joke that he is that Elon Musk also is in horror movies. But I don't remember seeing him get killed, and so we were discussing that after the film ends. He drove away because the car lets out, and Cole is like hanging.
Wow, wow. I feel like
See?
now, ladies and gentlemen, I should note we're recording this at 11:30 at night, and I have worked an entire day,
And
12-hour
I've been in a
shift,
movie
so
theater all day.
I'm a little, I apologize, but I just I for like I said, for the connection between all the murderers to be so loose, at least in this version of the story. I'm not speaking about the books, and if you love the books, God bless you. I'm sure they're great. Generally, 3 or 4 books don't get written unless people like them, and
Exactly. There's a demand.
yeah. But with this, I like it ended, and I was just like, okay, I don't. At least at the end of Thanksgiving, and no spoilers for Thanksgiving, but at the end of Thanksgiving, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe there could be more to this story. But with this one, I was like, please be over. Like,
But there's more books. I think they were setting it up for another one.
I can tell you right now, I will not be going to see Clown in a Cornfield 2. Like,
See, that's the problem with me. I will.
oh no,
I
no, no.
I will go. I don't know if I just like hate myself, but I'll watch and I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna go. For instance, the last Final Destination movie is bad,
Yeah.
except for the very end. But as soon as I heard about the new one, I said, and you know what? I will be seated.
Right.
But I do that, and maybe it is to punish myself. I don't know, but it's like this, like I can't help it. I have to go see them.
Right.
There's, and it's usually only with horror films. There's other films. I'm like, if it's bad on my own, but yeah, no, I probably would go see Clown in a Cornfield 2, and maybe regret it, but
Yeah.
I'll go see it. So I'll
Yeah.
just let you know what happened.
I definitely don't regret seeing this film, and I know I've been pretty hard on it. If you're listening to this show for the first time, generally I'm not this hard on movies, but
No.
for this one, it's just it's not creative enough, it's not funny enough, it's not scary enough, and really just hammering this message and its ideas home so hard. I think that's it's inexcusable to me. Like, to treat the audience that dumb really says a
Spoon feed
lot.
it to you.
Yeah, like it just put such a bad taste in my mouth that I was like, I don't care about this anymore. Anyway, before we sign off, I want to ask you, did you have a favorite kill from the movie?
Yes, and now I'm trying to remember which one it was. I'm like playing. Well, like you said, it's late at night.
Yes, I will
I
say
watched this Thursday night. Thursday night.
mine would be Will Sasso getting the cattle prod down the throat and then just kind of melting internally. It didn't look incredible, and I'm pretty sure if you stuck a cattle prod down my throat, and I'm not as large of a man as Will Sasso, I'm sure he's got probably a good 5 inches of height on me. But if you stuck a cattle prod down my throat, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't just stand there. I'm pretty sure I would at least grab it and I don't know,
Small
flail
note: I
around.
did love that he was in this.
Yeah, it's good to it's
WWE
cool to see
famous
him.
Will Sasso. His accent was atrocious. It did feel
Okay, are they
offensive
not
to Southern
doing
people,
are they
but
not doing Texas accents in this?
they might have been. But then again, sometimes people try to do accents for different states like that. I'm from Texas,
Yeah.
and it feels like when they try to do them, it's like they've never been to those places.
Well, because
So I didn't
I
find his
thought
accent believable, but like
I thought that this
also
was the Midwest, not the South.
exactly.
So I was like, what are we doing
There it
here?
is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what Kevin Durant was doing. I
No,
couldn't tell you
not a
what that
clue.
accent was.
Not a
He sounded
clue.
like a British aristocrat who had moved to Georgia
Yeah.
and been there for a few years. But so I did like the cattle prong kill. I also, as mentioned before, really liked where the girl just ran into the chainsaw and went up in the air. That one took me by surprise.
Yeah, that was
and
that was
I did really
shocking.
like it. Yeah, I'd probably say the chainsaw kill.
Okay.
I think it was the not Janet but the other girl.
Ronnie.
Yeah, the sidekick character. Yeah, her. She was very goofy. She was like the ditzy character of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Her kill was probably my favorite.
All right. Well, Clown in a Cornfield.
Clowns in a cornfield.
Yes. I think they pulled a they should have pulled like a Thunderbolts thing with an asterisk
Just
and then at the end. I mean, you mentioned you rated this 2.5 stars. I think I would probably give this 2 out of 5.
That's fair.
Because it's like just on the other side of me liking it.
I'm always too generous.
Yeah.
I really am.
I just
That half stars for Rust.
right, yeah, and like I mean, I gave probably an extra half star for me just for that phone joke because I thought that was so good. But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, and I say this very respectfully, but
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is just boomer humor. Like,
Uh-huh.
oh
Which I
no, a
don't love.
teenage girl doesn't know how to drive a stick shift, and
I don't like boomer humor.
again, like the idea of them just yelling at the audience as Quinn is like trying to escape and she can't work the stick shift. She doesn't look at the camera, but she may as well because she says, "When your dad wants to teach you to drive a stick, let him." And she doesn't make it about herself. She doesn't say, "Why didn't I let my dad teach me to drive a stick?"
Yeah.
That would have made sense. That's a funnier way of delivering the line. It makes more sense for the situation that she's in.
Mm-hmm. Just hearing you say it makes me cringe.
But she says to like, what? What?
I'm telling you.
Who wrote this that they were like, I'm gonna show these kids anyway.
The director wrote it.
Well, hey, Josie, thank you.
Thank you for asking me. I feel honored.
Wandering
even
through
if I was the backup one. I still feel honored.
Well, I'm just glad that we were able to come, and please come back for a better horror film. My God.
Literally anytime you want to do a horror film, you just let me know. I do go see almost all of them.
All right.
90%.
And I will say, I will commit right now, even though I shouldn't. If Clown in a Cornfield 2 is greenlit, I will come back and talk about it.
We've got to come back.
Okay. Josie, where can people find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter, X, whichever you want to call it. The other _JB, I think, is what.
I believe it's the other _JB_.
Yes, it's because the other one was taken.
Yes.
Which, if anyone is curious, because you've said this before, I originally did it because of a Justin Bieber joke where everyone's like, "Oh, JB, that's what Justin Bieber used to call him back when Justin Bieber was popular," right. And so that was the joke. But JB could be whatever. That's just what it means. That's where I'm most active, where I do the most, like talking about films obnoxiously all the time. So yeah,
all right, cool. All right, well, hey, thank you very much for listening. If you're listening to this, I really hope that you didn't love the movie and that you're not screaming at us for not understanding it.
Please don't unsubscribe.
Yes, but hey, if you enjoyed this, maybe you could, leave us a rating and a review wherever you're listening. If you hate the show, don't do that, though. Very much appreciated. You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought about Clown in a Cornfield. Let us know what you thought about Rust and Cole. Which, wait a second. As I'm saying that out loud, is that the kid's name? It is. Okay. Wow. This is breaking news, folks. Rust Cole is the name of Matthew McConaughey's character in True Detective. And it's their two names put together. Did they do that on purpose? I don't know, but that's weird. I don't like that. Now I really don't like this movie. This just went down to 1.5 stars. What are they doing here? Anyway.
Maybe the author's a fan.
That'd be like if you had two characters in a movie. It'd be like, my name's Hannibal. My name's Lecter. Anyway. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. There's a whole bunch of extra episodes, patron-only Discord. You get to vote on upcoming monthly episodes and themes. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's multiple clowns in that cornfield. Patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. And that's it. Thanks, Josie.
No, thank you.
And thank you very much for listening. Till next time, have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.